I was at my bachelorette party. All my friends were going crazy, shouting, drinking, dancing. There were some really attractive performers. And I couldn't hold back. I got swept up in the moment and ended up being unfaithful. What I didn't know was that everything would be recorded. But, it was my bachelorette party. My night. The event that, according to everyone, is supposed to be unforgettable. And it was, just not in the way I imagined. My friends were euphoric, drinking non-stop, glasses raised, loud music, over-the-top cheering. Everything revolved around me. I was the center of attention. They toasted to me, to the wedding, to the dress. And every toast came with the same phrase, disguised as a joke, "Tonight, anything goes." I smiled, nodded, didn't take it too seriously, at least at first. I've never seen myself as someone out of control. I don't usually lose control. But that night was different. Drink after drink, joke after joke. They kept telling me it was my last free night, that everything would change afterward, responsibilities, married life. And without realizing it, I started to believe it, that I had the right to enjoy myself. All my friends encouraged me. It was that dangerous feeling of being surrounded by people who validate everything you do, who cheer you on, who push you just a little further than you would normally go. The music got louder, the lights dimmer, and the atmosphere more intense. I laughed, danced, felt eyes on me. And I won't lie, I liked it. I liked being the center of attention. I liked feeling that, for one night, I didn't have to answer to anyone. That's when the show started, and the performers came out. My weakness. My friends went wild, screaming, recording, pushing me toward the center. I joked around, covered my face, pretended to be shy. But at the same time, I wanted to take advantage of my last day of freedom. I didn't plan to cheat on my boyfriend. But in that moment, I decided not to think. I told myself it was nothing, that it was just one night, that everyone does it. Because yes, and I'll say it plainly, things happen at most bachelorette parties. Let's not pretend to be surprised. My friends encouraged me. Literally. They told me to enjoy it, that it was my day, that no one would ever find out. And instead of setting a boundary, I let myself go. I didn't feel guilty at the time. It was my bachelorette party. It felt like anything was allowed. I knew I was being unfaithful. I knew I was doing something I shouldn't. And still, I kept going. Between the laughter, the alcohol, and my friends cheering me on, I cheated on my boyfriend with one of the performers. Even though, in that moment, I wasn't thinking about him. That night, for me, was an amazing bachelorette party, fun, carefree, unforgettable, except for one detail I didn't see coming. While I thought everything would stay there, someone was recording. And that small detail turned a harmless night into the scandal that destroyed my relationship. I thought those videos were just memories on my friends' phones, blurry clips meant to get lost between laughter and hangovers. Just girls' stuff. It never even crossed my mind that one of those recordings would leak. I was calm, smiling, convinced everything had stayed in that night. I felt happy, even proud of having the kind of bachelorette party so many women dream about. I had no idea that, while I was resting, that video was already taking a different path, a dangerous one, straight to the person who should never have seen it. And when it finally came out, everything I had justified as normal or allowed stopped being that in a matter of minutes. And the worst part is, I don't even know who did it. I don't know if it was a friend trying to be funny, someone who didn't like me, or my sister-in-law. To this day, I don't know. but someone who was there celebrating with me decided that my moment of freedom should become evidence against me. Someone recorded everything, waiting for the perfect moment to use it. The next day, I woke up with a strange mix of feelings, even though I had no idea what was coming next. Just keep listening. A bit of a headache from the hangover, my body tired, that lingering sense of having lived something intense, trying to piece together everything that had happened the night before. I remember staring at the ceiling and thinking, yeah, I did it. I cheated on my boyfriend. And it wasn't an accident, it wasn't a mistake. It was intentional, but at the same time, I felt calm. It was my bachelorette party, my last day of freedom before getting married, and in my mind, that justified everything. Any kind of infidelity. As I replayed the night, the laughter, the toasts, the knowing looks from my friends, the moment I moved closer to the performer, it all felt like it happened in slow motion. It wasn't planned, it wasn't meant to hurt anyone. It was impulsive, the adrenaline, the feeling that for one night I could do whatever I wanted. And I did. I enjoyed every second. Because honestly, isn't that what a bachelorette party is supposed to be? Isn't that what we all want to feel, at least once? And yes, I was unfaithful. But the truth is, in that context, I didn't feel guilty. On the contrary, I felt free. That night, everything felt allowed. That night, I was in control of my choices, breaking rules I normally wouldn't. My friends were cheering me on, we laughed, hugged, looked out for each other. And in the middle of it all, there he was, a hired performer, attractive, fun, with an energy that completely disarmed me. And yes, I let myself go. I didn't plan anything, didn't go looking for trouble, it just happened. Now that I think back on it, I can't help but smile with a bit of irony. Because what would be a massive scandal to many people is almost normal for us. I know it sounds harsh, even cold, but most girls do something similar at their bachelorette parties, even if they don't admit it. One night, one impulse, a little alcohol, and enough adrenaline to lower anyone's inhibitions. It's almost universal. And as strange as it may sound, I don't feel bad about it. Everyone does it, everyone is unfaithful in some way, some just don't confess it. There were no feelings involved, no emotional betrayal. It was an isolated act, intense, impulsive, a one-night thing. And yes, I cheated on my boyfriend, but I didn't do it to hurt him. It was a decision in the moment, of this is my night, and I can do whatever I want kind of mindset. As I relive every second, I realize something else, that feeling of freedom was addictive. That mix of nerves, laughter, excitement, and a brief flicker of guilt made me feel more alive than ever. It wasn't about disrespecting my boyfriend or our relationship, it was about a permission I gave myself. Permission to be free, a little rebellious, to feel like I could break the rules without consequences, until someone decided to record it. Because yes, while I was enjoying myself, someone with a phone was capturing everything. That part wasn't in my plans. That unexpected detail is what turned a story that should have stayed between me and my friends into a scandal that exploded the next day. That sense that everything was allowed crashed into reality. Even so, I don't regret what I did. It was an act of freedom, a moment of living without rules, something many celebrate in silence. It was fun. But then reality hit, hard. As soon as I woke up that morning, still a little foggy from the hangover and the adrenaline from the night before, I was faced with something I had never anticipated. My boyfriend was waiting for me in the living room. No prior calls, no joking messages, no hints. He was just there, sitting on the couch, with a look I will never forget, a mix of anger, disappointment, and pain. There was no time for greetings or innocent explanations. He looked me straight in the eyes and, before I could say anything, started talking. He showed me photos and videos from the bachelorette party. He didn't say who had sent them, just that he had them. Everything. Every moment I thought was private and allowed had been recorded, and someone decided he needed to see it. His tone was cold, but filled with restrained rage. Every image, every clip was proof of my infidelity, and he couldn't believe it. He called me a liar. Said I had betrayed the trust we had built over years. Every word hurt more than the last. I can't believe you did this. How could you? You're a liar. I didn't try to make excuses. I didn't want to invent stories. It was true, I had done it. I tried to explain that it was just a moment, that it was my night, that a lot of women do the same, that it didn't mean anything, but none of that calmed him. He was devastated, and the worst part was that he wouldn't listen. Then he said something that still echoes in my mind. He was calling off the wedding. He didn't want to be with me anymore. He said he couldn't trust someone capable of doing something like that, even in the context of a bachelorette party. His words were final, leaving no room for discussion. What had been, for me, a moment of fun and freedom was, for him, an unforgivable betrayal. I tried to apologize, to explain that it was a one-time thing, that I loved him, that he mattered to me, but nothing worked. And then came the part one never expected. He asked me to leave the house. Not as a temporary punishment, not as something that would pass. He was kicking me out. Every word made me feel smaller, vulnerable, exposed. My tears, my pleas, my attempts to explain myself, none of it mattered. The sense of freedom from the night before had turned into a mix of guilt, shame, and fear. I remember the silence that followed, heavy, filled with tension and unspoken accusations. He never told me who had sent the photos and videos, which made me even more paranoid. I didn't know if it was a resentful friend, someone jealous, or even my sister-in-law, who had also been at the party. That uncertainty ate away at me. In just a few hours, I had lost everything: trust, the person I loved, my sense of security, our future together, the dream of our wedding. I left the house feeling like everything had changed forever. The bachelorette party I had remembered as perfect, intense, and liberating was now stained with scandal, pain, and betrayal. Every fun memory from that night was now tied to the image of his face, his anger, his disappointment, and the realization that someone else had turned my freedom into evidence. That mix of guilt and pride, of fun and destruction, stayed with me. As I walked away from what had once been my home, crying, struggling to breathe, I couldn't stop thinking about the irony of it all. A night that felt like mine, like a moment of freedom, had ended up destroying everything. The line between fun and disaster had vanished in a couple of drinks and a single impulse, and now the price was far higher than I ever imagined. That just one night of infidelity had consequences I never saw coming, and the truth is, I can't blame anyone but myself. Now, as I look back on everything, I can't help but ask myself, and ask you, listening to this, was what I did really that wrong? Did my boyfriend overreact? Because from my perspective, it was just a bachelorette party. A unique moment, full of adrenaline and excitement. Yes, I got carried away, but I didn't mean to hurt anyone except, maybe, myself. I want you to think about this with me. At some point, most women experience something similar at their bachelorette parties. It's not a secret, many just don't talk about it. Some remember it with laughter, others with a mix of guilt and nostalgia. But it happens. I wasn't trying to destroy my relationship or hurt anyone, I was just living my night, my free day, like so many dream of doing at least once. So what do you think? Was it really that serious? Or did my boyfriend overreact? What still confuses me is that no one said anything that night. My friends laughed and encouraged me, but no one warned me that someone might be recording. And I, trusting, assumed everything would stay between us, like it so often does at these kinds of parties. That trust, in hindsight, was my biggest mistake. I keep thinking about all the bachelorette parties I've seen, and the truth is, this happens more often than anyone admits. Girls joke, laugh, flirt with performers, with friends of friends, with whoever, and then everything goes back to normal. No one thinks about the camera, about someone's phone capturing every moment. That's the reality. And now I'll ask you again, what would you do in my place? Would you call it infidelity, or just a wild moment at a bachelorette party? Because from where I stand, there was no malice. It was an impulse, a single night of freedom that will never happen again. Just a moment, but one with very real consequences. We never spoke again. He closed the door to his house, his life, and I closed mine. No more calls, no messages, no explanations. Sometimes I think about him, about what he saw. I wonder if he overreacted, if he acted out of impulse, or if the trust was simply shattered in an instant with no way back. I won't lie, it hurts to think that someone you loved so deeply could see a moment of fun as betrayal.